Friends, welcome to the 30-day challenge, February 2023. I'm so excited that you guys are here today. We're going to have an absolute blast. I'm going to be with you for 1 hour today. I'm going to break things down for you in some ways that are going to absolutely make you go, oh, okay, I can do that, okay? I've literally done this for the greater part of my life, nearly 40 years now. I've taught one-on-one for decades. I've taught over 10,000 one-on-one lessons. Been doing the whole online thing since 2006. And I'm so happy to be here. I love teaching people how to play guitar. I love to see them go from not believing to seeing to being whatever they want to be on the guitar. Because truly, at the end of the day, there's nothing stopping you from being anything that you want to be on this instrument if you do the things that it takes to get there, okay? And that's a big if, right? So I can't give you anything that's going to make you an amazing player, but I can give you the instruction, I can give you the guidance, I can give you the psychology. And honestly, that's the biggest part of it, okay? That's the biggest part that I can do. Your part's going to be doing the things to get there, so doing the things, the prescription that I give you, okay? So first off, let me know if you can hear me or not, okay? Can you hear me? I'm sure you can, all right? All right. I'm looking at comments, seeing the Legends Live. Henry Olson, oh, thank you, buddy. Henry Olson, if you guys don't know him, is a phenomenal guitar teacher, a real sweet guy, and he's joining us here today. So beautiful. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate it, buddy. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be showing you some bits and pieces today, some of the things that people struggle with the most. We're going to be breaking this down into a few different categories that you're going to be able to take and grapple, okay? So, in fact, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, beautiful. Thanks for the thumbs up, and thank you for the correspondence here. By the way, I'll be answering questions for you guys too today, okay? So this is Q&A as well, but I want to lead up to the Q&A because I want to show you some bits and pieces, and I want to help you think about the guitar. So if you're new to guitar, or it feels like you're new to guitar. You've been playing for decades, but you just can't seem to get beyond the hump, right? Whatever hump that is for you in your mind. Well, we're going to talk about it today, because at the end of the day, the guitar is this. It is physically what we do with our hands and mentally what we do with our minds. You cannot have one without the other. You can have hands that move, but you need a mind to be able to be able to move them. And in order to get to some place where you can do a particular thing, well, I'm getting ahead of myself here. You need a mind, okay? And I'll break that down here. Let's break this down further. We've got what we're doing with our hands. We got what we're doing with our mind, with our brain, with our head, okay? And we're going to get granular here. As far as the hands, we've got the left hand and the right hand. Unless you are a Pleiadian or something like that, we've got two hands that we're working with here. So it's just a matter of fretting, depending on if you're left or right. That part doesn't matter. You've got the fretting hand, because we need to be able to fret to tell the world what we want to say in our soul with a particular note, or a particular scale, or a particular phrase, or a particular chord, or a particular chord progression, or a particular song. We have to be able to manipulate the frets or be able to play them in order to create, right? So there's that. Then we also need to be able to strike the strings, and we can do that in several different ways. We can use a pick, we can use our fingertips, we can use our nails. There's all different ways that we can do it. But at the end of the day, all guitar is made up of that. Okay, manipulating the frets and striking the strings. But more than that, right? Well, let's take that. We'll put that over here. Let's talk about our mind for a minute. Let's talk about what I even mean by that. First off, if you don't know what to play, and you can move your fingers all around the fretboard. You've done all sorts of dexterity exercises, but you don't know anything about music. You don't know anything about its construction, aka music theory. It's a scary word. It's not scary. It just means the knowledge of music. Super simple, right? You got this on other things, right? Whatever your job is, you got the knowledge of that. You got the knowledge of driving a car. You got the knowledge, basic. It's just basic music knowledge. That's all it is. Super easy. The stuff I show you is the stuff that's going to move the needle the most and the stuff that's absolutely the easiest. It just happens to be the same thing. How about that? How cool, right? So there's the understanding what you're doing on the guitar, because if you don't understand but you can move your fingers around, it's not very good. You might as well not know how to move your fingers around. Same thing with knowing what you could know the ins and outs of music and the construction, and these notes make this chord and these notes make this scale and yada yada yada. You could do that and then not know how to fret them, not know how to strike the strings, and then you are just as well as not knowing it, this stuff, right? So the brain, we have to use our brain in order to determine what to play, but the most important thing, and friends, this is where new players and players who have dropped out of playing, this is the number one thing. It's the psychology of understanding all this stuff. At the end of the day, people think, I'm going to be, playing guitar is easy. I see them. They just move their fingers around, and I got this, right? So they psychologically start off on the wrong foot, thinking that it's just so absolutely easy. Not that it's not, if you do the right things, but without a roadmap, they think it's easy, and it's not. It's impossible without a roadmap. It's not impossible without a roadmap. It's very difficult without a roadmap. If you don't have a roadmap, you're going to need a ton of motivation, a ton of drive, a ton of, I'm going to figure this out. And that's how Jimi Hendrix and B.B. King and all these guys did it back in the day, because they were just so intrigued with the guitar, like I am and like you are, that they just sought it out and they figured it out. And it's true. And that's great. We also have instruction now. We have manuals, and we've got courses, and we've got videos, and this, that, and the other thing. And if you find some good ones, like I give you for free, first link, I think it's the first link in this, for this 30-day challenge, I give you access to like 36 of these videos for absolutely free, okay? Literally, there's nothing I'm asking you for. You get in there. So click that link if you're not in there already. You don't have to be in there to do this broadcast with us, but eventually you're going to need some sort of instruction, and I've created I think it's 36 lessons, the first 36 lessons or so that you're ever going to need, the stuff that talks about the left hand, that talks about the right hand, that talks about the theory on the guitar, at least what you're going to need in the beginning, right? And talks about the psychology and guiding you through it step by step by step. I'm not going to keep talking about that, but I will mention it for those that don't know what I'm talking about. First link, I think the first link in the description of this video, okay? So make sure that you take advantage of that, because it's absolutely paramount to you being successful or not at the guitar, okay? Bottom line, I've literally had over 600,000, I'm not exaggerating, over 600,000 students go through that with wicked success, okay? So absolutely, there's no one that can't do this if you desire it. If you don't desire it, or if you're not willing to put in some practice, then absolutely, you're not going to do anything on the guitar. But if you have a zeal for it, if you're excited about it like I am, and you do the practice, it is physically impossible for you to not get good. Physically impossible. It's not the way our bodies and our minds and the cosmos are arranged, okay? It's not how they're designed. They're designed so that we can do things and move forward, okay? And those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about today, okay? So let's get into a little bit of that left-hand, right-hand technique, and a little bit of that psychology, and a little bit of that music theory, okay? And then we'll get to some questions. Okay, so here's the deal, and I'm going to lightly brush over these because I have the whole course for you that goes over the detailed stuff. So the important thing for me today is that I help you get to the next level, and that's by answering your questions, helping you with your fears, your psychology, and everything. What do you mean fears, Eric? I mean literally the reason why people don't succeed on guitar is there's psychology, okay? So we call it whatever we want, fear, psychology, whatever. I'm going to be explaining these things to you today. In fact, let's start right there, and then I'm going to be getting your questions, okay? Okay, so first off, the 30-day challenge is going to walk you through everything step by step. One of the first things that we talk about is we talk about expectations. So a lot of people will pick up the guitar and they'll say, wow, I'm having difficulty with this, Eric. What should I do so that it's not difficult? Well, I don't know about you, but my Mandarin sucks, okay? I can't speak Mandarin. Well, I've seen 4-year-olds in China that can speak better Mandarin than me. How is that? Why is that? God, they must be born into it, huh? Yeah, that must be. Well, you see these guitar players, man, where you're just like, I'm a 50-year-old man, and I see these kids that are 14 years old playing circles around me. They were born into it. That's the case. Is it really? Do you think that's the case? Do you think that as an infant they could play like that, or as a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old? Absolutely not. That kid in China who's really great at Mandarin was born in China. Okay, and his parents talked Mandarin to him all the time. So he's probably going to be pretty good at it, better than you and I who don't practice Mandarin. Okay, and the kid who's great at 14 means that he's been practicing, because there is nobody in the history of ever, listen to me, there's nobody in the history of ever who's gotten good at an instrument without practicing. It just doesn't happen. So it's a myth that people think. So I'm really trying to squash this one out of the gate, friends, because after teaching 10,000 one-on-one lessons and having over 600,000 students online, I've seen the same things come up over and over and over and over and over again. And what it is people start talking themselves into failure. Because they say, I'm not cut out for this. My hands are too small. Oh, but Eric, you don't understand. My hands are too small. I got small hands. Doesn't matter the size of your hand. It does not. Okay? They talk themselves out of it, or they say, I wasn't born into a musical family. Oh, my dad smashed my guitar when I was 14. Oh, this, that, and the other thing. Okay, after you get done saying all that stuff, let's move on to effing playing the guitar. Can we do that? Let's get the excuses out of the way. Let's play the guitar. Let's have some fun. Okay? It's why they call it playing guitar. Okay? So understand that anything you're doing on this instrument, right? It's going to take some time. But if you do it step by step, like I teach you in this program, like I give to you in this program, first link below, guiding you through it step by step, doesn't cost you anything. What I do is I show you, this is the only thing you need to know today. Okay, I start you off with 3 videos. And the next day it's 3 videos, and the next day it's 3 videos, and then we just break it down to 1 video per day after that, because I kind of ramp you up quickly with the psychology, with some basic understanding of music and those sorts of things. Once you have that basic foundation, then you start building upon that. See, what a lot of times people do is they don't have a foundation, and they want to jump to the good stuff, the fun stuff, right? And then they wonder why it is that their house is falling apart, because they've painted something, and they got walls, and they're painting the walls, and they're putting pictures up and stuff, and no one let the cement dry, and the foundation is now sinking, okay? I've seen this time and time again. So we don't want to do that. We want to establish the foundation. The other thing is that this foundation literally makes up 90%, 95% of what you're going to be doing 24/7 on the guitar. So you might as well learn that stuff. It's pretty foundational, it's pretty basic, and alas, it's literally the stuff that people try to skip, and it's ridiculous to try to skip, because this is stuff that makes you a great player, okay? And then you can build on top of that. But any great player, Jeff Beck, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimmy Page, name it, I don't care who it was, they started off with the basics. There's no great guitar player that didn't go through the basics and really have those basics established first, okay? Which is why these 36 videos are the most important ones you're ever going to go through, okay? So the psychology is that you're going to get better with practice, breaking things down into smaller pieces, all that stuff. We'll talk about that. So that's the psychology part. As far as the understanding what's going on the guitar, we're talking about different pitches, different frequencies being played at different times, and we're assembling them into scales. We're assembling them into chords. We're doing this with the left hand. We're manipulating the strings to create chords, right? To create licks. We're doing, you know, creating little riffs and stuff like that by manipulating our fingers to create that sound, right? And then we're, of course, striking the strings. So, one of the things that I want to do with you today is I want to talk about the major scale. And then I want to go into some questions. But I won't, before we get to that major scale, because to me, literally, if you understand the major scale inside and out, which is so easy, you literally, everything is based upon that. And most guitar players aren't well versed in the major scale. Some of them just kind of know how to play one, kind of. I think it's this, and that's it. They don't understand what it's used for. They don't understand that literally the spinal column of music, Western music, like 99% of the music out there, or 95% of the music out there, Western as in like the U.S., like pretty much all the music around the world. Okay, there are some cultures like Indian cultures that use fractions of notes, so smaller versions of notes and what have you, microtonal, if you will. But for the most part, we have this diatonic harmony, which is basically that which is based off of the 7-note scale: do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, and there's a certain pattern to that. But first, let's talk about a few things that will just get you first off acclimated to the guitar. Okay, and I'm going to go through them quickly because I give you this in a course. First link below, I give this to you, and so of course I want you to be able to go through that at your own pace. Okay, so first off, let's talk real basic left hand technique, real basic fretting hand technique, real basic picking hand technique. We're not going to get into finger picking today, so we're going to talk real basic. We did the psychology already, and then we're going to talk about the major scale. Then I'm going to get to your questions. Okay. Okay, I see you nodding. Okay, so here we go. Fretting hand. Doesn't matter if you're lefty or righty. Listen, do only what I say and not anything else, because you're going to get lost if so. Take your thumb and put it on the back of the neck. And the lower on the neck, the better. If it's up here, that's not so good, okay? So lower on the neck. Take your first finger and put it right behind the first fret right here. And I want you to use the tip of your finger. What I mean by the tip is this, not this. This is not the tip of your finger. This is the pad of your finger. So you want to take the tip of your finger, which is just beyond the nail, okay? Absolutely. Now, everything that I say in the beginning here is infinitely more important than the stuff I'll be saying to you in a month or two or three, okay? Because this is the foundation we're laying, and every single thing is based upon this. If you don't know this, you don't know. You can't build on anything, okay? Just trust me in that, okay? All right, so got the thumb behind the back of the neck. First finger is on the first fret. These little wires are called the frets, okay? And they get numbered 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, going this way because we're going up in pitch. So this is up the neck because we're going up in pitch, right? It's going up, right? Instead of down. So we're going up in pitch. These are frets. Take your first finger, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take your first finger, put it behind the first fret, and use that tip of that finger, right? Right there. That's all I want you to do. Okay? And understanding this with the thumb down here, this is why their chords don't sound good, because they're not playing on their fingertips, they're muting notes, they're having a hard time playing because they're playing on the pads of their fingers, not their fingertips, okay? So very, very important. And so being able to do that by dropping the thumb here and leaving some space right here. This is paramount. Leaving some space right here. If you're doing this, which is a great way to hold a shovel, by the way, so you don't lose it, or an axe so it doesn't hit you in the head. But this ain't an axe. Well, it's a guitar axe, right? It's not a shovel. And we use it differently, so we don't need to dig dirt or chop wood. We're doing things a little bit more light. So, thumb dropped back here. You doing that is literally the number one thing that you could be doing with your left hand, bar none. I could do 1,000 videos, and that is the number one thing that is absolutely going to mean the most in your playing forever and ever. Amen. Do that. I'm not joking. Fingertip, drop that thumb. Leave some space right in between there. Now, are you going to feel some fatigue in here? Yes, because you haven't done this before, right? This is new. If you're taking Mandarin for the first time, it's going to be a little bit difficult because you don't know even the pronunciation of some of the vowels and what have you. Okay, I don't know how that works, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know Mandarin, so I don't know what I don't know. So you're dropping that thumb back there. You're using that fingertip. Another thing that you're doing is you're getting as close to the fret as possible, right? If you're back here, that's not so good. But if you're here, that's much better, because think about like a seesaw. If I'm pressing here, I'm fighting against the nut. So I'm pressing really hard, and I'm going to get a buzzy sound. But if I'm here, it's going to be cleaner. So anytime you're playing, you want to make sure that you got those fingers as close to behind the fret as possible. Now, when you're doing this with your conscious brain, eventually you won't have to think about it. Stevie Ray Vaughan, when he was playing, at Austin City Limits, just ripping it up, wasn't like, oh, I got to play close to the frets. No, he's not even thinking about that stuff anymore, right? Because he's ingrained it with his conscious brain. Psychology tip number 2. We have a conscious brain, we have a subconscious brain. Your conscious brain can only do one thing at a time. These people that talk about multitasking, bump them. It's ridiculous. You can't multitask. You could have something on the stove while you're chopping broccoli over here, right? But you ain't multitasking. The stove is doing its thing. You can only consciously think of one thing at a time. Now you could flit back and forth, but flit and flip between thoughts, but that's not multitasking. That's just going back and you're using the same amount of time. So you can only think about one thing at a time with your conscious brain. With your subconscious brain, you can think of an infinite amount of things. What do you mean by that, Eric? Well, have you ever driven the car while you're talking to your mom on the phone, while you're chewing gum, and patting on the wheel or something? I mean, there's so many things that you could be. You're sitting upright, you're looking around. There's like so many things you're doing all at once. A child, when he's learning to walk, is doing that with his conscious brain. He's like this. He's like, oh, I'm gonna fall. Because he hadn't done it enough times consciously to build it into his subconscious. So it's the same thing with guitar. If we do this on a conscious level with focus, right? Hyper-focus, mindfulness, which is something that seems to be escaping a lot of people these days. If you do this consciously and really pour your heart into it, in your mind and your focus, and you're not like, well, I don't know why I suck on the guitar. Focus, right? It's going to absolutely, it's a laser beam, right? Focus is a laser beam, and if you can get good at it, it's unbelievable what you can do with it, right? So, but whatever we do with our conscious brain, it goes into our subconscious brain. So that's why you see your favorite player playing, not thinking about it, soloing, pointing at the crowd, working the crowd, maybe doing dance moves. You see Taylor Swift or somebody like that. They're singing, they're dancing, they're doing all this stuff at once, okay? That's because they've put it into their subconscious by doing it in their conscious brain so many times. This is a rite of passage. There's no trick to it. It's repetition. There are some tricks to doing it quicker, right? But the tricks are things like hyper-focus, dropping distractions, deep work, those sorts of things, okay? But once it's in your subconscious, it's not going away. And this is how I teach my students, right? I teach them consciously, do this enough times, trust me, I'm gonna get you there. And then when they start seeing those gains, and I see it every single day in my program, I see people just going, I can't believe this. I can't believe that I went from this to this now. Wow, couldn't do this, now I can do this. So just trust the process. First link is in the description of the video. Unconscious, subconscious, you call it whatever you want to call it. It's not even a separate part of your brain, or probably is to some degree, but call it whatever you want. Soham, unconscious, subconscious, whatever works for you. But you know what I'm talking about, right? The first time you drove a car, every fiber of your being was like, this guy's next to me. Oh, he's freaking me out, you know, and you're because every bit of your conscious mind was focused on not crashing. Now you drive and you're a little bit more loosey-goosey because you've been doing it for a while. And so you could be talking to your friend, talking on your hands-free cell or whatever, listening to music, you're having a good time, you're talking, you know what I mean? Because your subconscious can do so much. And you ever done this where you drive to work or you drive somewhere and you're like, man, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just like in my own world. But you somehow get there. Subconscious is wicked smart, man. Once you load it up with the stuff it needs to be loaded up with, you're going to be fantastic, okay? So, understand that. We talked about the fretting technique. Fingertip, right behind the fret. Drop the thumb. Leave the space. I go over this in the course so you don't have to remember it. At first, is it awkward? Yes. Guess what? It was for everybody. Stop complaining and just know it was for everybody. It was for Hendrix. It was for B.B. King. It was for Stevie Ray Vaughan. Yada, 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 yada. Okay? And then they practiced, and then it stopped it being that way. Okay? So just get over that. It is what it is. If you don't like work, you don't want to be playing guitar. And if you even call it work, like, I mean, what I'm saying is, if you just want to listen to music and you don't want to put anything into it, well, then play the radio, okay? Don't play an instrument, because the instrument you have to learn, but it's super fun. And it's super easy. Again, that's why they call it playing guitar, right? So we got the fretting. Now, if I move to, say, my second finger, what we want to do is we want to use all of our fingers. And I'll talk about that later in the course, but essentially, you want to use all your fingers. So the second fret, right, here's 1, here's 2, I want to use my second finger. And look what I'm doing here, man. Right up on that fret. Playing on my fingertip. Look at that curl to my finger. And I'm exaggerating this right now because I'm trying to really pump this into my conscious brain. If you ever worked out with weights, and they say, you know, you got to get your technique down, so you work with light weights before you work with heavy weights. Otherwise, you can harm yourself, okay? So, same way. I had a student who I told him, I said, but you can't hold the guitar that way. You're gonna mess up your hand. You're gonna get tired. He developed carpal tunnel. He's an artist, like professional artist, and he had to drop out for a year. Got carpal tunnel. He wasn't doing it right. It's not something you need to fear. Just do the right thing, right? Yeah. So, if you go to the third fret, you're going to use the third finger. And you have that thumb that's going to move along the bottom here, and it's going to match up with whatever finger you're playing, okay? That sort of thing. Yeah? Make sense? Okay, good. Now, that's as far as the left hand. As far as the right hand, of course, we need to strike the strings. And so the number one technique that I teach beginners is, I say, it's called a pick rest, okay? And in classical, it's called a rest stroke. But essentially what you do is, if I'm playing this third string here, I'm going to pick the third string, and I'm going to let the pick rest on the second string. So I'm not doing this and hitting other strings and that sort of thing. I'm literally picking the third string. Check this out. Third string, and I'm resting my pick on that second string. Make sense? And so, do that. If you can't do that, don't move on. I teach this in the program this same way. You don't have to do it right now. It's okay. But what I'm saying is, get the pick rest down, because the concept in that is the number one thing. I told you I'm going to be giving you all the number one stuff today. I gave you the number one stuff as far as the picking hand, or the fretting hand. This is the number one thing to get down as far as the pick. And it will help you immensely. And it moved me. And made me a better player. And then when I look in the program and I see under that video, I see so many people going, dear Lord, this helped me so much. What a simple exercise. Because a lot of people, they try to do it, and like literally in the beginning, they just can't, they're like, I don't even know what, and they're doing this, and you're like, bro, take a chill pill, man, and just let the pick fall into the next string. Just don't think about it. We get to thinking too much. We get in the way of our excellence, right? Because we just think too much. Slow that mind down sometimes, right? So that's left hand, that's right hand. Obviously, there's a million things we could say about these, but we're starting from the top level stuff, the stuff that you've got to know, the stuff that all pros know and that they're using every single day. Okay, we talked about the psychology, we talked about the left hand, we talked about the right hand. Let's talk about the major scale here really quickly, because understanding it is super important, and we'll get to use some of this stuff that we're talking about right now, okay? So the major scale as the whole do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You've heard that before, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to 1 or 8. That's why they call it an octave. Oct meaning 8, or octopus, right? So octopus has 8 arms. An octave has 8. It's 8 notes above the original. Okay, so we can play the scale across the strings like this, but we're going to be doing it linearly across one string today. By the way, anybody, oh, Doug, thank you so much for the super chat. If anybody has a super, oh, look at this, man. You guys are doing super chats here, and I'm missing it. Thank you so much. That's really super kind. Man, I'm going to make sure I hadn't missed anybody else here, because I thought that said Robert Malone. I was like, Robert Malone's joined my broadcast? Boss. Okay, so, but any Roberts here, I'm happy. Thank you for being here, okay? So, DeBear Fan 85, thank you, brother. It's good to see you again, man. Is the 30-day course the one, he started about 1 month-ish ago? Antonio, it is a 30-day program, so you could start whenever you want, yes. Absolutely, okay? And I saw another one here. There's Doug. Doug, thank you, buddy. So kind, so super kind. I really appreciate that. Okay, so we talked about left hand. We talked about right hand. Obviously, you're not learning everything today. We talked about the psychology. Well, let's learn about the major scale, okay? So the major scale goes like this. First off, the distance between one fret and the next is a half step. That's what we call it. 2 halves make a whole. So if I play this note and I go up a half and another half, that's called a whole step. So from here to here is a whole step because it's comprised of 2 half steps, right? Yes, that's right, Eric. Okay, good. So you got that part down. Now the construction of the major scale is whole step, half step, whole step, half step. You don't have to memorize this. It's in the course I give you. First link below. So and we follow this pattern. We play a note. Whole, half, whole, half, or WWH, WWWH, or 2 W's and an H, 3 W's and an H. Super easy. You know the major scale. And guess what? You can do this off of any note, so now you know the major scale in any key. Wow, that's quick, right? 2 holes and a half, 3 holes and a half. Here we go, watch. Here we play our note, and we move up a whole step. Play it, go up a whole step again, because we said 2 holes and a half. Here's our 1 fret movement. 3 holes, so 1, 2, 3, and then a half again. And that is the major scale. Watch. Let's do it again. Okay? 2 halves make a whole, so we say whole, half. So we got play our first note. You say the whole or half when you move, not when you play a note. So don't go whole, because that isn't right. That's gonna mess you up. Do it when you're moving your hand. Very important. Star, asterisk, underline, circle it, point to it, because if you don't remember that, you're going to mess up, and I can't tell you how many students I would see do this. And I'd say, no, you gotta do it when you move your hand, okay? So here we go. Play your first note. Whole, half. Watch. Whole, half. Whole, half. Watch. Now the cool thing is, now I teach that one that's going across, I teach that in the course too, so you don't have to, we're not going to go over it right now. But the cool thing about this is we can do this off of any note. There's a C sharp, we did a C before, so now I can do the same thing. Whole, half, whole, half. And if you know it in one key, you know it in every key. What? Yes. And here, look, I'm playing this, and I'm not thinking of sharps and flats, am I? I'm not. I'm just moving my hand because I'm getting the pattern down. This is how so many of the greats played guitars. They weren't thinking sharps and flats and stuff. There's a place for that, and I teach that in the program. I even teach you how to read music in the program. But you might not ever use that. You might not use it for years. If you're reading music, you'll need it. If you're not reading music and you're doing stuff by ear like I did the first few years of playing, I mean, I was also a classical guitar major, so I did learn to read music. But besides that, when I wasn't doing that, I was using my ear. I wasn't thinking sharps and flats. I mean, I might go, it's a G sharp, but I'm not, like, there's no reason to say it unless there's a reason to say it. If someone says, what scale are you playing? Well, it's a G sharp major. Okay, well then there's a reason. Otherwise, I'm playing this scale, right? You don't have to think about it so much. Okay, so that's the major scale. Let's get to some questions because I want to help you out, and I want to make sure to get you to whatever levels that you want to get to, and I think that's important when it comes to questions and what have you. Okay, so number one, this is the 30-day challenge is basically it's Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. So I've let a ton of people into this program. It's free for you. It's my gift to you because I wanted to create something that just helped people, whether they got in my program and paid or not. I was like, I love playing guitar. It's literally saved my life. It provides income for me and has for decades for me, playing in bands, teaching lessons, creating courses, writing books, tutoring people, coaching people, writing charts for people, playing in the studio, playing live. I mean, I can't tell you how many ways music has given me back, and that's just monetarily. As far as my soul, and as far as healing people, and stirring up their emotions. That's what music's for, right? Music, it's like literally emotion. It's about the mood. It's about the emotions. So it's given back to me so much. It's my way of saying thank you, music. I'm also giving back because I think there's a lot of love in that, and there's I just believe in that. Okay, so all that to say, where were we? We're going to talk about so the 30-day challenge. Basically, it's the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, except now I've created this kind of like daily psychology. You call it motivation if you want, but it's more psychology. It's more of understanding where it is that we're going, and if you understand where we're going, then you're not going to be freaked out. Case in point. I took my kid to Wonderworks on Friday. It's like a museum, hands-on museum, science, not science, but more just like things that will just wow your mind. Okay, and there was a couple virtual reality things in there. Well, my son's 7 and has never done this before, so I had to explain to him, it's going to feel as if we're on a roller coaster. You're going to look down and you're going to see what looks like the ground, and the whole room's going to move, and we're going to feel like it's really happening, but it's not, okay? Do you remember when you were little and you'd have a dream and you'd wake up from it, it was so palpable that you were like, dear God, that just really happened. Now as an adult, you're like, it was a dream, like, right? Like I was thinking about it, right? So in the same way, if you understand these things in regards to music, then it will help pave a path for you. If you don't understand it, then you're gonna be like, and tell me if you've said any of these. You're gonna say, oh, my hands are too small. Oh, I wasn't born in the right family, or like any one of these. And I'm sorry I'm using that voice. It's just that I've heard these excuses so much. I've used them myself. So we're all guilty of it. But at the end of the day, if you understand how to navigate them and understand that that's just your mind talking rubbish, stuff that isn't true, but you're like, I don't know, I think I should quit because of my hand being too small. Absolutely not true. And so these guided emails, these guided messages that I give you throughout this thing every single day will help you with this. So basically 30-day challenge is the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, right? It's that plus these daily guided videos. All this is for free, by the way, in the link of the description of the video. These daily guided videos that will say, okay, this is what we did yesterday. This is what we're going to do today. But make sure you get this one thing down before we move to the next lesson, okay? And it builds upon it. If you do it, you cannot fail. It's physically impossible. The only way that you're going to fail is if you quit. If you want to quit, that's up to you. No judgment. But it won't be because of me, because I've laid it all out there for you, and it's there for you for free. So there's zero excuses. If you want to do it, it's there available for you. And it takes you through it through 30 days, Antonio. That's the deal, okay? And so I'm doing these probably once a month. I don't know how often I'm going to do them. I think probably once a month, but we'll see. If it tapers off and people aren't joining, then I might not do it. But right now I'm doing it because we've got 152 people in here who want to learn how to play guitar. So let's do it. Okay, so let's get to some questions, shall we? All right, after teaching myself guitar as a teenager in the 70s, taking the course now and finally learning about music theory. So excited to learn. Oh, I love that. Beautiful, Teresa. Okay, so I'm going to post some of these on the site here as I'm looking at them. So Antonio is saying, how can I start learning the scales so I can start soloing? Because I can't wait to play Sultans of Swing, bruv. So I just dropped that on one of my channels. If you don't know the Sultans of Swing, that solo, it's on my Instagram, I think on YouTube as well. Antonio, what we want to do is we want to learn the major scale. I showed you the basics of it there. If you don't know that, don't learn another scale. So know that scale first, Antonio, because everything that I was playing inside of that Sultans of the Swing solo that was written by Mark Knopfler is the major scale, okay? Now, technically, it's the minor scale, but the minor scale is inside of the major scale. So if you play it from the 6th note to the 6th note, you have the minor scale. And in fact, all of the Greek modes are inside of the major scale. If you play the scale from 1 to 1, it's called the Ionian scale. If you play it from 2 to 2, it's the Dorian scale. There's a Lydian, Mixolydian, there's Phrygian. I mean, just all the modes are right in there. So if you play the scale from 1 to 1, it's one thing. If from 2 to 2, it's another thing. From 3 to 3, it's another thing, okay? And so I teach all about modes inside the program as well. But I don't teach a ton about them because we just don't use them that often. It's mainly major and minor, okay? So understand that. That will help a ton, okay? Okay, I love this one. Couldn't play to backing tracks to save my life until I learned the Cage system. The Cage system literally opened up the entire fretboard. Inside of UGS, when I say UGS, I mean the Unstoppable Guitar System. This is the one that we've had hundreds of thousands of folks in, over 600,000. I teach the Cage system, but I teach it in a way that's it's like that on steroids. So I teach the Cage system, which I have videos for you on YouTube. You can check those out. But I have a whole course inside of UGS on the Cage system. I teach it from the major chord standpoint, I teach it from a minor chord standpoint, and the dominant 7th chord standpoint. So I teach it from all of those, okay? So that you can use it literally not just for major chords, but for all, okay? I love this. Yes, Tim is saying, Tim's Guitar World with Tim Fescorn. Cool. Tim, I'll have to check you out. I bet you I have already, but I'll have to check you out, brother. Major scales, everything. Also the minor pentatonic. Absolutely. Find the triads on all those scales. Thanks, Sage. You're doing great work. Thanks for all you do. You're welcome, brother, and thank you, another fellow guitar teacher there. Teaching the world how to play. It's important. Someone's got to teach people how to rock. It's true. Thank you for that, Tim. Appreciate it, buddy. Eric, do you find this true? I'm speaking about myself here. I've been playing for 12 years, and I'm guilty of not always playing cleanly on my fundamentals. Doug, because I teach guitar, I don't know. I'm all about the basics. And I mean, I'll go to other advanced stuff, right, when I should need it. But I personally I wear it out because... I wear it out because it's so important. Gene, thank you so much for the super chat, $10. I really appreciate it. This old veteran thanks you for what you do. I appreciate that, Gene. Thank you so much. If you are an active member of the U.S. military or a veteran, I give my huge course, my $685 course, by the way. Which, by the way, there's monthly ways to do this that are super, super affordable. And I've got lots of different ways you can get into my program. But if you're like, dude, I know I want to play guitar. I want to do it for life. Forget it. Like, let me in. That's how much I charge for my course. Okay, get it all day long because people understand it's literally the best course out there. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but there's a lot of people in here who would agree with me. But I give that for free to my veterans, okay, and to active military. So if you are that, I would love to gift that to you. I've given away over $1 million worth of courses at this point to veterans. So go to YourGuitarSage.com/veterans, I think, or just go to YourGuitarSage.com. You'll see it there somewhere. Okay. My mind blew up. Only knew of the existence of the major and blues scale. Good, love it, man. Soham, can you explain the guitar tuning in fourths, the circle of fourths? I will not explain the circle of fourths right now, Soham, just because it's kind of advanced for what we're doing here. But I have a whole course inside of UGS that's based on the circle of fifths. Okay, circle of fourths, circle of fifths. It's based on that, okay? And boy, if you understand that, it's a whole nother level. It's like it's all levels, right? It's all layers here. But essentially, friends, when we're talking about a fourth or a fifth, we're talking about the scale, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Remember I said you'd be using that all the time? Well, if we play the scale and we play a fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4, that note is right underneath the 1. There's the 4. And the 5 is right here. And so understanding that is really important. Understanding where the 1 and the 4 and the 5 are important because if you know where the 1 and 4 or 5 are at all times, number one, they're the notes that you'll use the most, but then you're only one scale step away from all the other notes. What? Yeah. It's cool. All right, so, and also the guitar is tuned to fourths for the most part. From G to B, it's not, but from E to A, it's a fourth. From A to D, it's a fourth. From D to G, it's a fourth. From G to B, it's a major third, okay? And that's because hundreds of years ago when they were working with the guitar and putting it in different tunings and what have you, they found that to be the most helpful to play in standard tuning and be able to play in any key, play bar chords and all the rest if you tune that to a major third instead of a perfect fourth. And then from the B to the E, that's also a perfect fourth, okay? All right, good stuff. I love that, and I should have posted that, but there it is right here, okay? Will this course help in learning fingerstyle guitar? It absolutely will, and it's absolutely free. And it's one of the last videos. I teach you fingerstyle guitar. I teach you, I give you a battery of all these different exercises that you can do to develop from not knowing anything to being really good and be able to do all sorts of stuff fingerstyle wise, okay? That's one of the last videos in this course. In the description of this video, friends, click that link and you'll have access to it. Any questions, let me know about it. Ear for tone and music. Am I still a candidate to learn to play? Oh, I'm 65 and don't have a great ear for tone and music. An ear for tone and music is developed. It's not born. You're not born with it. It's developed, okay? Absolutely 100%. I don't care what anybody says. No musicians are going to argue with that. There's a few who egoically will, but that's just because they're not knowledgeable and they're letting their egos get in the way, but it's all learned, right? Just like this is a low note, this is a high note, and everybody understands that, right? But understanding what that actual note is a whole nother thing. Now my kid, who's 7 years old, could actually tell me what note that is. I don't know what notes those are, but he can tell me because he has perfect pitch. Something that a lot of kids of musicians developed early in life because they, I don't know why, because they're around music all the time. So my kid can actually do that. I can't do that. My wife, who's on multi-million records, 13 million records or something like that as a songwriter, can't do it either. So we laugh all the time because we'll be driving in the car. He did this yesterday. And he's like, "Oh, this song is in the key of D, my favorite key." I'm like, this song's in the key of D? Because I knew that I knew he had perfect pitch, which he could tell what note's what, right? I have relative pitch. And everybody has relative pitch. It means you can hear this as being low and you can hear this as being high. If anybody out there thinks that they're tone deaf, if you could tell a difference between a low note and a high note of what I did just now, you ain't tone deaf, okay? If you can hear notes, which are frequencies, you're not tone deaf. You either don't hear or you hear. And if you don't hear, then yes, you're tone deaf. But if you can hear, you can't be tone deaf, okay? And I know people, every now and then I'll have somebody argue with me because there's a definition out there. But at the end of the day, I go back to physics. Sound comes from things that are vibrating. It's not some other sensation. It's the vibration of air molecules hitting your eardrum and creating a sensation called sound. And that's frequency. And you can't both hear frequency and not hear frequency at the same time. So for those people that are still argue with that, I'm like, no. You may have some sort of deficiency where it's harder or something like that, but I even hate excuses like that because I've never actually seen that. But people automatically, here we go with the psychology again, people automatically go to those excuses because they want a way out instead of just working through it. They're, I tried it and it was hard. I have this disorder and it wouldn't let me do this thing. If I'm hitting a nerve with you, stick around if you want to get out of that psychology. Otherwise, you just get pissed off and leave because some people, they like to have those excuses. Okay. Always learning. Maybe a strange question, but what major scale would you learn first? C major or G major, etc. Always learning. What I would do is I would learn the major scale the exact way that I teach it to you in the program. I don't know how many videos in, but it's the free program I'm giving to you right now. First link in the description of this video. Watch it that way because you get your choice. You get to learn it the very first day. You get to learn it in all keys. Yeah, seriously. So that's what I would do. I would do that so that you know it in all keys on the first day. But the keys that you use the most on guitar are G and then the key of C. Those are the first two. Rock and roll, it's a lot of E, it's a lot of A. But again, if you learn it the way I teach it to you in the free program I'm giving to you today, you'll know it in all keys and you're good. Okay, my problem is I've been trying to teach myself for about 2 years. There's the problem right now, trying to teach yourself. And it's not to say you can't. You definitely can. But if you're not, I taught myself, but I was so passionate about it, I wasn't going to quit. And so everybody has different passionate levels. It's okay. There's no judgment. Everybody has different passion levels. If you're not super passionate about it, you may quit without the instruction, okay? So you definitely can learn guitar by yourself. I have a video that says you don't need a guitar teacher, basically. But obviously they're helpful. For about 2 years, I'm totally lost most of the time, really need some guidance, some direction. I'm so passionate about guitar. It's my life. Well, Chris, get in the program, bro. Let's be buds, and I'll help you, okay? Carl's saying, the best course, Jerry, the best. 2 soups at Mendy's worthy. I love that, Carl. The best course, Jerry, the best. I say this to my wife all the time. It's the best. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Jerry Seinfeld, dude. Doug, how do you sign up? First link below. Click that. It'll bring you to my site. It's super easy. I have to send you the invitation. So it's by email invite, but it's literally you do it. It's all in real time. So it's like I'm not manning the computer. I have it set to where you do that, you get it right immediately. Okay. So first name and your email is all we need. All right. Okay, Sonia's saying, hey, Eric, just finished the 30-day challenge. I thoroughly recommended it. Learned a great deal. Hoping to continue. Loving your teaching style. Cheers, Eric. Oh, so beautiful. Thank you so much. Doug is saying, take this course. Eric will give you structure. You're like me. Guitar is part of the soul. You own your self-structure. Absolutely. Antonio, besides whole, half, whole, half, how's the major scale built? Antonio, don't make it any more difficult than it is. That's it. That's the construction. How do you build a triangle? It's 3 sides, bro. Yeah, but how else do you build it? What else is involved? Nothing. It's 3 sides. That's it. That's it. Whole, half, whole, half. That's it. That's the major scale, Antonio. Okay? Beautiful. Have a fish taco. Yes, indeed. Love it. All right. Happy late birthday, Melissa. Yes. Okay, you got me started on the guitar. I love you. Thank you so much, Eric. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Natalia. Beautiful. All right, we got about another 6 minutes here, friends, and then I've got 2 more live broadcasts that I'm doing for my folks in UGS Pro. That's right. So when you join UGS Pro, if you want to join it, you don't have to. I'm here for you, bro. Sis, I've got 1,000 free lessons for you on YouTube. I've got the free course that I'm giving you today. I'm constantly posting new videos. So if you don't want to buy anything from me, it's totally fine. I love you anyhow, okay? I'm here to help you play guitar, and I love it, and I love helping people, okay? Obviously, there's some things in the course that you're not going to find in other places. And obviously, I need to keep the lights on, so I need to charge for it, just like you do at your job or anything else. So, of course, I'm going to charge something for it. Otherwise, I couldn't be sitting here right now while my family is actually out having fun at the beach. I couldn't be doing this unless I was doing something, right? So, oh, beautiful. Love it. Okay. Let me bump back here a little bit and see if there's some other questions here. Oh, also at the beginning of the chat, you're going to see the sign up for the 30-day challenge. So if you haven't clicked that link, dear Lord in heaven above, click it so you can get in the course for free. I don't get anything for it, okay? I literally don't get anything for it. It's literally my love of this and wanting to help people out. So it's my gift to you. Ted in Sarasota. What's up, brother? I love Sarasota. Love it, love it, love it. Salvatore in Austin. That's where my cousins are. Got Jeff in PA, Missouri. Hello, guys. Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm looking just to make sure that I didn't miss any questions. Here we go. Any tip on how to avoid the pinky of the left hand flying? I've heard this one all the time. Okay, so this is the deal. Who said this? Let me put this on the screen because this is important, and there's a psychology bit here that's absolutely so important. So, Manos, whose hand is this that you're talking about? Are you talking about my hand? No, you're talking about your hand, right? Okay. Who better to control your hand than you? That's dumb, Eric. Really? Because it's your finger that's flying away. Okay, well then what is let's connect it. Okay, yes, it's my finger. Yes, I can control my finger. Yeah, I get it. But it's still doing its thing. Okay, it's because subconsciously you're just allowing it to do stuff because you haven't consciously, here we go with this conscious thing again, this focus thing, you haven't consciously trained it to do something different than that. Have you ever had a bad habit of something where you're just like, oh, there I go again, stop doing that? It's because it's built into your subconscious because you've done it consciously so many times. So how to undo it is you nip it in the bud, and whatever it is that you're trying not to do, you don't do that thing and you replace it with something else. You can insert this into anything. Drug addiction, you can put it anywhere, okay? Any habit. You can get rid of whatever it is, you know, this is what drug addicts do when they want to get clean is they stop hanging out with other drug addicts and they get drug stuff away from them and they stop listening to drug songs. They stop watching drug videos on YouTube and all of a sudden they're in a different culture and they're training their conscious mind to not be taking the drugs. Make sense? So same thing here. If you got a flying pinky, what you want to do exercise number 2. Okay, exercise number 2. Actually, you can do exercise number 1. It's in the program I'm giving you today. But this is what you want to do, is you want to consciously be focusing your eyes, your mind on that pinky. And so one of the exercises that I do is this one where I go 3, 4, and I just go 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. And what I say is, while I'm doing it, is I say, I don't want that pinky moving any more than it needs to. So I want it to move in the slightest way, not this coming out here business. And what happens, I know this seems like you're like, oh, I have to think about that. Yes, you do. Because your conscious mind or your subconscious takes over. Okay? It takes over. If you're not, the conscious brain can be stronger than the subconscious if you work it out. If you don't work it out, your subconscious is going to win every time, okay? But if you consciously go, no, subconscious, you hush your little mouth. Okay, this is what meditation's all about. Meditation has absolutely transformed my life. I suggest doing it if you haven't, and if you're that guy who's like, I can't do it, I think too much, it's literally the whole point, okay? I was the guy that thought too much. It's literally catching your brain and saying, no, you come on back here and let's quiet down. Oh, no, I'm thinking over here again. That's right, come on back over here, brain, and settling it down. When you start doing anything like that over and over again with your conscious brain, your subconscious starts doing it automatically. Friends, it is literally one of the keys, one of the magical keys to life. If you understand this concept, you can apply it to anything that you do. You can apply it to guitar, you can apply it to breath work, you can apply it to your sport or your vocation or whatever, and it's magical. It's absolutely transformed my life. So when I'm playing this, if my finger's coming out here, I'm like, no, it's okay, don't beat myself up. Just go, no, pinky, come on down, come on back down. Okay, cool. And then it goes there, right? And then I put the next finger down and I'm consciously putting every amount. Think of like a baby who's learning to walk. You're putting every fiber of your being into keeping that pinky down, whatever it takes. And then what happens is you start building neural paths. It's literally you start building a pattern from your fingers to your brain, and it starts becoming stronger each time that you do it. A habit is nothing more than a strong neural path. So you've done it so many times that you've worked a groove. It's kind of like having a meadow of grass. You walk across that meadow of grass, you look behind you, you see where you stepped a little bit. If you step in another place and you look behind you, now you see two paths, vaguely, very, very, very vaguely. But if you go one path and you look behind you and you see that vague path and you walk it a second time and then you look, it's padded down a little bit more. If you do that 50 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. Now this is how we have trails throughout the world, right? It's because people walk that path so many times that the grass stops growing there, the trees they get cut back, and there's a path there, okay? Brain works the exact same way, and you can do this, okay? It's absolutely it's how, you can believe it or not, but it's literally how you learn every single thing. It's how you've learned every single thing since the beginning of time, okay? Okay, good stuff. We need to close it out here in a minute, but let me get to any last questions here, okay? So I'm going to literally look at Conal's here. He's the last one here, and then I'm going to work backwards, okay? So he's saying, hello, Eric. Out of many of your lovely guitars, this King of Flat Tops is my favorite. Which one's yours? Well, as far as acoustic, yes, this one is my favorite. Then this is the one that is my favorite and has been for a few years now. This is a Gretsch 6120. It's a 1959 Gretsch 6120. It's the same one that Brian Setzer plays, and in fact, he was going to try to nab that one, and I had a buddy who worked at Gruen Guitar in Nashville, and I said, don't you dare let Brian know that guitar is available, because I've been waiting my whole life for it, and he's got dozens of them, so screw him. It's mine. And he did. He let me know. Okay. What's a good exercise to curl your fingers without touching the other strings on that fret? Alex, it's just consciousness. It's just being in the flow and be able to say, okay, my hand needs to be like this. Alex, I go over it right now. I need to hit some of these questions, and I go over it in one of the first videos regarding fretting. Hit the link in the description of this video, because I go over it in more detail, okay? And I really want you to have this so that you can move forward and you get exactly what I'm talking about. But it's about consciousness when you're playing, and curling that finger and developing a habit, okay? So I teach you how to do that inside the program, okay? So Ham said, it's kind of like playing Call of Duty, kind of. It is. You're building neural paths all the way, okay? All the time, okay? What can I do to keep my thumb lower on the back exercise? I tried bending my wrist to keep it as low as I can, but it's still pretty high. Consciously drop that thumb, okay? Here's your thumb. Look at your thumb and say, drop it. That's all you got to do, and keep it there. And if it moves, correct it again. This is the way, okay? It's literally the way, and I mean that the way in capital. It's like just you see something and you correct it. You see something and you correct it, and eventually your brain will start doing it automatically. Okay. Okay. The Bear fan. There's Mike. He is my right-hand man. He's the best guy ever. Yes, he is good, and he helped me get things set up today. So Gary is saying, thanks. How to get my left-hand fingers more fluid? My left hand is very mechanical. Is the answer to practice scales or any recommended exercises that will also help? Gary, what I would suggest is this. Yes, scales, exercises are great. 365, I give that first week to you guys for free. I think when you get in the guided, yes, yeah, you get the first week for free in there, and you get to keep it. But that's a great one to work because you got 7 exercises that will help a ton, plus the ones that I give you inside the free program. First link in the description of the video. But here's what I like to do, Gary, is I like to practice whatever it is that I'm trying to work on. So for instance, if I'm trying to get good at a particular song, I practice that song because I could practice scales all day and it's going to make me better for sure, you know. By the way, for everybody that gave this a thumbs up, thank you. Karma, good karma to you, good blessings to you and love and all that good stuff. Thank you. That really helps. I really appreciate that. And for those that donated, thank you so much. So yeah, you can practice scales, but I'm a big fan of practicing whatever it is that you're trying to get good at. Because that's the exact thing that you need to be practicing, right? So you can practice scales all the live long day, and you're going to be good at scales. It's going to make you good at other stuff as well, but why not practice this thing you're trying to get good at? And then that'll help via scales and everything else, and you'll be really good at that one thing that you're trying to work with, okay? Okay. Thank you, Eric, and thanks for your help with dogs and cats. You're so welcome. I love animals. I love beings. I love this world. I love people. I love beings being happy. I like being happy, and I like making other beings happy. So, and animals, I have a special place in my heart for because I just think they're precious, and they deserve our love. And sometimes as humans, we can tend to act superior and we're smarter and this, that, and the other thing. And when actually it's our stupidness sometimes that says things like that when animals do things that are so extraordinary sometimes and we make some goofy little excuse as to why it is. Anyhow, I love animals. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that kindness. Love to be part of the community. Love that, Kenneth. Yeah, if you're not in there already, brother, come on in. How advanced does the course get? Can I email questions for clarity? Yes. Once you're in the program, yes, you definitely can ask me questions when you're in the program. Absolutely. It gets advanced. I mean, in the big course, I have over 1,000 lessons. So when we do some real high level stuff, okay? Oh, beautiful. Analog Kid, go UGS Pro, unlock the world of guitar. Thank you. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Did you know somewhere on the interweb Eric talks about healthy eating and why he chose his lifestyle of eating better? Yes, absolutely. I'm getting ready to do some more of those videos as well, The Bear Fan. I'm going to put them someplace else, probably not on my guitar channel, but I have a new camera for that, so I can be on the beach and I can be talking to you guys about stuff when I'm in the flow and what have you. It's just going to be like lifestyle stuff because I've changed my life so much over the years, and I want to share stuff with friends that has worked for me. You know what I mean? Okay, good. Okay, cool. I'm going to check one last time. Make sure. Oh, thank you, Leon. Love that. CGS, UGS changed the way that I thought about guitar. Thank you. I'm doing 365 and love it. You've laid exercises out for your everyday. It makes your practice more efficient. Love it. Oh, thank you, Heen. So kind. Can you do the access at your own pace, or do you lose access after 30 days? No, you can do it at your own pace, Kelly. Absolutely. Okay. Okay, deciding between Pro and 365. Can you help? Sonia. Yes, I have a video for that on YouTube, but it's older. Here's the deal. Pro, if you get Pro, it includes 365. If you want to understand the inner workings of guitar, if you want to understand that brain part that we talked about on the guitar, get UGS Pro. If you know all that stuff and you're just trying to exercise your fingers, 365 is like being at the gym. It's like having the coach go, drop, give me 20. That's what it's like. That's all it is. He's not going to tell you what muscles you're working out and what kind of nutrition you should be doing and all the rest. That's what Pro's about, okay? And if you get Pro, geez, look at Leon's avatar there, man. It's like some yummy something, cheesy something there. Sorry, I got distracted. I'm hungry, obviously. Get Pro, Sonia. That's the way to go, okay? 6120 is what Pete Townsend used on Who's Next. Really? I did not know that. Okay. Last couple things here, and then I'm going to go, okay? Because I gotta attend to my next broadcast. Is signing up for this 30-day challenge different than signing up for UGS Standard Guided Free? Curtis, no, it's not. It's the exact same thing, except you're not doing it in 30 days. You could if you wanted, but essentially, yes, that is the bulk. That foundational course is same course, yes. Yeah, beautiful. That's a great point, Genesis. I just put that on the screen there. Okay. Trout fly, usually refretting can be in the hundreds, like 150-ish. 250-ish could be. Is there an easy way to get to a B minor chord to find it the hardest to change to? Andrew, that one, you don't get a free ride on that one. The B minor chord is the B minor chord. I tell you what, Andrew, watch the video effing F chord on YouTube. So just search that, E-F-F-I-N-G, effing F chord. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'll teach you how to play the B minor chord through that chord, okay? 100% disabled vet, learning guitar is helping dealing with disabilities and to make me smile more. Hands are slow, but I'm trying. Love that, Jim. Thank you so much. And the amount of vets and other folks that have messaged me in regards to PTSD, their PTSD. I say their PTSD. It's not theirs. It's just PTSD, and it's not theirs, in fact. It's getting rid of it. I can't tell you how many folks have gotten in the program and say, my PTSD, they say my PTSD, but PTSD is gone or majorly subsided. I cannot tell you how many folks have said that, okay? If you're a veteran, if you're current military, U.S., I provide that whole course for free, so nothing to gain there. I'm just telling you, this is what I've seen over and over again, okay? Easy E. Pro for sure. I do have a Udemy course. It's a fraction of what UGS Pro is, even though it's literally the #1 guitar lesson course in the world. And I feel super confident in saying that because I think we have 350,000 students in there or something like that. 300,000. It's a ton of students. It's the biggest course. Absolutely, it is a fraction of what the Unstoppable Guitar System is, okay? So, yay, Andy signed up and raring to go. Good, working through the 30-day before starting 365 and love it. Yes, beautiful. Yeah, and used to give up a hard time, but I kept practicing and it's gotten a great deal better. Good, I love that. I love this, Pat. Did you hear about the new restaurant that just opened? It's named Carmi. You don't have a menu. You get what you deserve. I love that. All right. Beautiful. Okay, Doug, yes, I'll tell Corey. I will tell Corey hello. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being here. Sorry we went a little bit late, but love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. Please, if you haven't done so, click the link in the description of the video. It's going to get you access, 100% free access for the rest of your life to the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard Guided. This is a new thing that we've done, and people are raving about it. So you look at the reviews in there. You look at the comments. People are like, dude, this is so amazing, because I'm walking you through the psychology of this stuff before we even get to the video, so you know what to expect. You're not freaking out, okay? So thank you so much for everybody for being here and taking your time on Sunday. I really, really appreciate it. Please let me know how I can help. Join me on YouTube, on all the socials. If you need help with anything, reach out to me, okay? Thumbs up, hit the thumbs up if you would. Send it off to a friend. Subscribe if you would like, if you want more of these videos and that sort of thing. Otherwise, I'm here for you. You guys know where to find me inside of UGS, all right? See ya.